Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boy.
Thanksgiving and politics. Y'all, I have been seeing a lot of things about people saying if somebody disagrees with you on politics in your family or whatever, not your friends, don't do Thanksgiving with them. Dear Lord, y'all, this is going. I think we are taking a lot of things very far at this point. A lot of things very at this point. You know, Thanksgiving is supposed to be a time of everyone coming together, giving thanks. And we have people out here who are telling other people, you know, if somebody didn't vote the way that you voted in this election, you shouldn't go to Thanksgiving with that person. I think it's crazy. I will give more of how I feel about it as we progress through this video that I got right here. But let's go ahead and get at the video first, y'all. Let's get it.
I'm all for healthy boundaries, but I tend to think mashed potatoes are the great equalizer. Like, you don't want to spend Thanksgiving by yourself because you can't set politics aside.
Whatever your reason is, I would never let my politics be the reason I don't show up to see my family because they won't always be there.
I'm going to disagree.
All right. Well, apparently the View host, Sonny Hostin, is all for Democratic voters essentially spending the holidays alone if it means not having to deal with family members who are big Trumpers, individuals who supported Trump for this election. Now, this is during a panel discussion yesterday, and the ladies of the View were discussing like how to handle some of these difficult situations in which you're confronted with different political opinions that you hate, that you're vehemently against. The topic came up after a Yale psychiatrist by the name of Amanda Calhoun suggested to Joy Reid that it might actually be a good idea to skip the holiday celebrations this season following the election. Let's watch.
There is a push, I think just a societal norm that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who you know have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why, you know, to say, I have a problem with the way that you voted because it went against my very livelihood and I'm not going to be around you this holiday. I need to take some space for me.
All right, y'all. As y'all see, that's where this kind of stemmed from. And if there's other viewpoints that we'll bring in as this video goes along. However, you know, I understand where she's coming from. You know, if you actually feel some type of way, if you feel like, you know, you are hurt, go ahead. Go ahead. This is just the same stuff that y'all were doing the day after the election, guys. You know, going on Instagram, deleting all your followers. You know, it was just a lot going on. And I feel like this is just another step in the wrong direction, just another step with more dividing everyone, just in the wrong direction all around. You know, this is why they say don't share your politics, because y'all can't just, why does everyone want to live in a fishbowl of goldfish that look like goldfish? No one wants to live outside of that. Like, I would never want to be with people who they only think like me. Like, I love being around people who challenge me to think in different ways, you know, not even from the point of view to sway my opinion, but they give you a different point of view, a different way to look at things. I that's one of my biggest things that come with that. So just, yes, if you do feel like, you know, if you have hatred in your heart, you know, for all of this stuff, everything that went down, and you feel like you need to take a break from your family members, go ahead, man, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. That's what I'm telling you. Am I going to do that because a family member voted some type of way? No, I'm not. I feel like, just because we're family does not mean that you have to agree with me. Does not mean you have to agree with me. We gonna continue. Y'all know I'm gonna continue giving my thoughts as this thing go on, but let's continue with this video.
All right, so I'm not surprised that was something that was said on Joy Reid's show, but I am curious what you think, John. There are those who disagree, plenty of people who do agree though, but I'm curious where you fall on this debate.
So I guess she and I guess we're going to try to talk about this referencing some like abstract category of disagreeing with a family member, when in reality it super depends. Like it depends. Like, can a person just have a meal, watch planes, trains, and automobiles, and not talk politics? If they can, then it's probably not an issue.
Right.
Some people can't do that. Some people either can't do that. Some people don't want to do that. They love needling you and bringing it up, and I'm so happy, drops in. And there's people like that across the political spectrum. I don't think it's necessarily perfectly evenly distributed. I think some politicians have fan bases that are more like that. I think there are way more people that like Trump and want to talk about how they like him than like Mitt Romney supporters. I don't think you were getting hit over the head by Romneyites back in the day, or Joe Biden. I'm sure there's some Democrats too. But yeah, if it's not an issue, it's not an issue. I have, one family member I can think of that is the most conservative family member I have, and he's not an a-hole about it. So it doesn't really even matter. But if you have a group that might come over and it's going to ruin the day, and the election was literally 3 weeks ago, then in that case, I think you might have to create some distance.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think it really does depend, right? Because if you're going to preemptively cut people off because you simply know that they voted differently from you and you vehemently disagree with who they cast their ballots for, but they haven't been jerks to you, you can typically have a good time with them and not get into a political debate. Like, I think it's wrong to cut those people off, especially if it's family, friends, people who've been close to you. There's gonna be political disagreements. The question is, how do those individuals treat you? And if they are treating you like a jerk, well then, okay, I can understand wanting to distance yourself. If they simply have political disagreements with you but treat you well that's an entirely different story. And look, I totally get the thing about the egging you on and poking at you and trying to like rally you up. I've like learned how to deal with that, and eventually I'll start to troll back and have fun with it. So it started with, oh yeah, that's an interesting point you're making, and then I'll move on. Because look, there are cases where there's some family members that you might not be able to avoid, right? It might be your in-laws, right? Like you have to visit your in-laws and you love your spouse and you want to be there for them. So out of respect for your spouse, you might just have to stomach it, right? Like I have found myself in that situation. But you know what happened? It started off with, oh yeah, that's an interesting perspective. I hadn't thought of that. But like pivot away because I don't want to fight. And then I learned to have a little bit of fun. Like, why am I letting this get to me? It's not like this one person has the power to like destroy my life. This is just one person. They think differently from me. So if I can stomach it, like, sure, let's engage in a good faith conversation. But if they're trolling me, I'm gonna troll you back. Let's have a little bit of fun.
I think that'll work for a good number of people. I think silence will work for a good number of people. I think for some people, what you just described. There's also a category where like, again, like every voter for Trump is not the same.
True.
Like it means different things. Like the end result is the same. Every vote is the same in what it did, but why someone did it. And there are also people for whom, like maybe your family member didn't vote for Trump because they love every insane, violent thing that he says. But even just accepting that, depending on who you are, what groups you might be a part of or whatever, what your life experience is, that may be unacceptable. I'm very much of the camp of, I don't think politics is a game. I think it's a real thing that affects real people. And when people are dying because they're denied health care, or they fear their health care will be made illegal in the next few years, or if you're a special education teacher and, oh damn, the plan is maybe to eliminate that in the future, then a family member who knows you, knows your experience, and still signs on to potentially you being politically repressed. I agree with the woman in that first video. You don't owe people your time just because, Turkey Day is here.
No,
again, it's going to depend on each individual person.
Yeah, let me be clear. I think it's bad advice to cut people out of your life over political disagreements in general, right? There could be some extreme examples where I think it makes sense. But if you have that general, take on people you disagree with politically, out of concern for you and your own happiness, I would not suggest that you should cut out people willy-nilly, because you're gonna alienate yourself. And like, it's actually, I'm coming from a more selfish place. Like, I love my family and I love my friends, and I'm gonna have disagreements with them. And I don't want to alienate myself from those I love over political disagreements. And you're right, it really does depend. And are they being jerks? And are they like purposely trying to, provoke me? And if someone is trying to make my life difficult, and if they're like constantly trolling me at family dinners, that's a different story. Luckily, I don't have that experience. I did in the past, but that was the past. Luckily, we're over it, we're past it. But I think we have a real problem in the country of people feeling alienated already, atomized, lonely. And I don't want politics and things that honestly, on a higher level, individually, we don't have control over to destroy our relationships and our families and our friendships. So that's where I'm coming from. Plus, when you keep that line of communication open and you can stomach some of those political debates, if you engage in good faith and if the person you're disagreeing with knows that you're coming from a place of love, you can actually, maybe persuade, maybe they'll persuade you on some things, who knows? But at the end of the day, we need to see each other as people rather than like political avatars. You get what I'm saying?
That's 1,000%. They were hitting it across the head all the way. Like, how does a person treat you as their friend, like as a family member? That's, I feel like, the biggest thing out of anything is the way that somebody treats you. If they treat you bad, yes, don't do that. Yes, don't go around them. However, if y'all are having if y'all just disagree, that's not, it's not worth it. I don't think it's worth cutting somebody off. That's why I said a lot of people that y'all follow on Instagram and all that stuff, y'all wasn't even friends with them anyway. Y'all just was adding people that oh, okay, yeah, I've seen them before, let me add them. So that's what I feel like, because hey, if the way I vote politically is what pushes you over the edge, that's crazy. Because I'll even go into this avenue right here. Y'all know how much moral protection goes on between friends and family members. Like, think about the person in your family who has been protected inside of the family. They are at every single event, birthdays, graduations, random celebrations, cookouts, Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, Juneteenth. You see them all the time. All the time. And you know that the family knows morally that person is not, we shouldn't be cool with this. Or they protect that person morally. The uncle touching on all the kids, and that uncle protected. Y'all know how many families that actually exist in? But y'all draw the line on this point for years. And this is specifically, I'm just specifically talking to the black people right now. Years y'all have protected people in your family. And if you're willing to cut somebody off who actually treats you right as a family member, as a friend, because y'all have a disagreement and you're not willing to cut off your friend or family member because y'all have a disagreement of morals, I just think, y'all are, this is some crazy stuff. This is some crazy stuff. It's a lot of family members with friends who I disagree with on a lot of things. A lot of things. But they do treat me well. Like they treat me well. I don't agree with everything that everyone does. Or even if they do treat me bad, man, we all go through times where we don't see eye to eye. The end of the day, we still gonna be cool. Yeah, you might need to take a break. That's why I say I understand. Like, if you're going to Thanksgiving and you got a super Trumper and they about to come in with they Make America Great Again hat and they about to be, yeah, doing all that extra stuff, I would understand. But even if it goes as far as y'all just having a conversation and y'all are keeping it very demure, very mindful, y'all keeping it demure, the discussion very demure, it's cool. A lot of people can't separate separate these things when it comes to politics and then religion. They say what politics, religion, the things you shouldn't talk about. But I'm telling you, y'all have friends and family members that are morally doing things wrong that you know about, that you will stick by them through thick and thin. But when it comes to this, y'all not. I really think it's a fad. I really think that it's a cool thing to do. Like, oh yeah, they support Trump, so I'm cutting them off. You know, I really feel like that it's very sheepish behavior to me. Very sheepish behavior. Because I'm always the type of person, man. I honestly, how do you treat me? How do you treat me? Because I've known some real like jackasses that treat me well, you know. So it's like, yeah, man, that person's a jackass, bro. But you know, they do treat me well. It's one of the realest people I know, honestly. One of the realest people I know. So this is somewhere in the middle. I like how they say it is somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. I can agree with that. However, like I said, if you're cutting people off and you're not attending Thanksgiving, it might be a lonely Thanksgiving for you. Like, I mean, that just is what it is. Go hang out with your other friends. Go hang out with your other friends. You don't want to show up, you know, even if you don't want me to show up, I'll find something else to do for Thanksgiving. I'm gonna give my thanks, have a good time. That's just what it's gonna be. Honestly, because I know some of y'all ain't gonna invite them out. Nah, you know, I can't do that. I can't do that. He voted for Trump. I can't have him over there. But Uncle Earl gonna be sitting right there eating Thanksgiving turkey with some dressing. And we all know what Uncle Earl been up to. Let's continue though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Again, like as a general rule, sure. Again, this super depends on the individual. I mean, there are people who, like, you know, they might have like had to hide who they were when they were teens, and now
I know, yeah,
their parents want to have Thanksgiving dinner with them, but they remember what their early life was like. Like, it super depends on the individual person.
It really does. It does. I totally agree with you on that. Okay, so Anna Navarro, Alyssa Farah Griffin, and Sarah Haynes all agree that, you know, they don't let politics get in the way of their relationships and with family. So let's take a look at what they have to say.
I'll tell you, Al has 5 children.
Your husband.
My husband has 5 children. Most of them or their spouses voted for Trump. The problem is those 5 children have 13 grandchildren he refuses not to see and not to be part of their lives. And so for our family, I mean, he has told them, I will not let politics split up our family.
You don't want to spend Thanksgiving by yourself because you can't set politics aside. Like I find that every day in every job I've worked in social circles I've run in, I've been around people who have different politics than me, and it's never gotten in the way of having friendships with them. I wouldn't have had any friends.
I wouldn't have had any holidays if I had to only pick the ones where everyone agreed with me. And so now there are times,
and I wouldn't be with you.
I check in with myself and say, am I up for this? Because I also know struggling with mental health. There are times I'm not, and that's okay. You step away, but it will never be the defining point, because toxic personalities don't have political affiliations. It's a personality trait that sucks, and we all are related to people like that.
Yeah, I thought that was a good point.
See, and that is the point. That's the point. The personality trait that they have would literally be the gas in the coffin. Like, honestly, I'm cool with talking whatever you want to talk. We can talk whatever, you know, I'm cool with that. But if you treat me bad, I'm not going to want to be around you. I'm not. If you have a personality that's not right, I'm not going to want to be around you. Because like I told y'all know I am in Europe. Europeans, I get to talk about some politics all the time, especially while Trump was on his little run, while he was on his run, going through whatever. Did you hear what Trump said? Did you hear this? Did you hear that? Civil conversations. We agree on this. We disagree on that. It's fine. I have no problem. Now, if you the a-hole at the job, I'm not gonna want to be around you or talk to you. But if you just disagree with the way I'm voting, or I disagree with a point that you made with nah, man, that's not it. As long as you stay cool, we good. We good. It ain't always about that. I'm not gonna ostracize somebody because they have a difference of opinion from me. I'm just not. And I feel like everybody has the right to do what they do. They have a right to feel the way they feel. So that just is what it is.
Point at the very end, but also I never really thought about how if you have a disagreement with a family member, that also means, and you're willing to cut them off, that means cutting off the kids that they have, right? Like, I don't agree with my brother on every political issue. The idea that I wouldn't see my nieces again, are you kidding me? No. Okay, my brother can say whatever he wants. I'm gonna see my nieces. My nieces come first. Yeah.
Just invite the nieces. Don't let him come over. That seems super. They're
too young. They're little girls still. So like, I still have to deal with their parents. Yeah. So.
I agree. And I'm not trying to be like a contrarian or whatever, but like when I see the inherent nature of the View is that it is going to be, whether we agree with what they're saying or what we don't agree with what they're saying, they're for the most part, maybe guests aside, a table of well-off people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it is politics means different things when it's like. It's the thing you talk about and you get fired up about it and then you go back to being perfectly comfortable with your life, and people for whom it's, literally or kind of figuratively, but bordering on literally life and death.
Yeah, no, you make a really good point about the comforts that affluent people are able to enjoy, and to some level that privilege, that wealth can protect you from some of the downsides and some of the actions taken by the administration you did not vote in favor of. So I totally hear you on that, and that's a really good point. And look, Sonny Hostin, she's having a tough go at things, and she's in the complete opposite camp. So let's hear what she has to say.
Whatever your reason is, I would never let my politics be the reason I don't show up to see my family, because they won't always be there.
I'm going to disagree. I completely understand her point, because I really do feel that this candidate, President-elect Trump, is just a different type of candidate. From the things he's said and the things he's done and the things he will do, it's more of a moral issue for me, and I think it's more of a moral issue for other people. We're just, I would say it was different when, let's say, Bush got elected. You may not have agreed with his policies, but you didn't feel like he was a deeply flawed person, deeply flawed by character, deeply flawed in morality.
A lot of Dems called him deeply flawed and demonized him.
But you got to admit, they're very different figures. I think when people feel that someone voted not only against their families, but against them and against people that they loved, I think it's okay to take a beat.
Okay, I think she.
See, that's what I'm saying, y'all. The deeply flawed in that, deeply flawed. I do agree, everyone is kind of deeply flawed, y'all. I am not perfect whatsoever. About all our presidents done had a cheating scandal or had somebody in the Oval Office doing some craziness. Nobody is above pretty much anything. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. And morally, we are all flawed. I don't know not one perfect person. And we can say that moral flaw is higher than this moral flaw, but yes, at the same time, no. At the same time, no. We make exceptions for what we want to make exceptions for. Let's be real. I'm going to say that one more time. We make exceptions for what we want to make exceptions for. That's just what it is. And me knowing that, I accept pretty much everyone's flaws, man. I accept the flaw for what it is. I'm going to get what I can out of that situation. As long as you treat me well, we can still be cool. Will I ever treat you bad because you treated me bad? I'm gonna try not to. I'm telling y'all right now, it's people who I know treat me bad. If I'm out having a good time and I just happen to have a bottle, it's somebody I know, y'all. I can get somebody I know. They're not all the way cool with me. Go to an event, I see him, I'm gonna speak, hey. If I have a bottle and they ask me for a shot, I would look at them like I know for sure. If I was to ask you for one, it would probably be like sassy and all this other stuff. But I'm gonna treat you the way I would want to be treated. Yeah, man, go ahead. Take it, man. Honestly, I'm not hurt for it at all. I'm not hurt for it at all. But yeah, y'all, it's all that stuff, man. All this Thanksgiving and politics. Know who's gonna be around. Decide, man. Just decide, honestly. If your family is going to actually be talking about that, can you handle those conversations? Is it going to be able to something that you can sit through? Or, are y'all going to do like normal? We don't talk about politics or religion because it just makes people so uncomfortable that they want to strike. This is where my morals cut off at, when you allow every other moral undoing all around you with your family and friends. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel about the situation. If you feel like you don't need to be there, don't be there. Don't be there. I understand, y'all. That's why I say it's somewhere in the middle. Because some people I understand. Some people I do understand not wanting to be around. Then we make exceptions for other people. And that's how I feel about it. Y'all know I'm not skipping out on any Thanksgiving meals, any Thanksgiving gatherings because of the way that anybody voted. I've known people that voted different from me pretty much every time. And we can still hang out, man. We can still be cool. We gonna do what we do. That's how, as long as you treating me well. As long as you treat me well, then we can be cool. Hey, man, y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know how y'all feel about Thanksgiving and politics, because y'all already know that's always a real nice nail biter for people.